Okay. Well, good morning once again. Good morning to all of you who are joining us online. Thank you for joining, and good to see you guys. It's been a while, I think. How's everyone doing? Good, good. Okay. How's everyone doing? Thanks, Andrew. Likewise, good to see you. Hey, Sam. Hello, Lucy. Good to see you. I see that Abhishek is joining us online. Abhishek, what happened? Okay, no problem. But to everyone, Kofi, Arista, good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Good to see you all. Right. Okay. So I will be teaching on the subject of holiness, holiness of God this semester. Yeah. So today will be more like an introduction to the subject, right? Uh, and so as soon as you was what are you expecting of this course, like when you hear us, we're going to study on holiness. So what is your expectation? What do you think you'll be learning, at least? How to be holy? Yes, sure. Sorry. Yes, how God is holy. Okay. And how we can learn to be holy like he is. Okay. Right. we can we can give reverence to God, for he is holy. Okay. Right. Anyone online? Okay. It's a command. Okay. But besides that, I'm just generally asking, what are you expecting of this course? Because when you hear the word holiness, there could be a lot of things that comes to your mind, right? Is it okay if you come a little forward? So, is that okay? Okay, if you can just sit here, because I'm not sure if I'm loud enough, at least for now. So, yes, it is a command, as Andrew says, and yeah, the holiness of God and how God wants us to be holy. Yes. Okay. Uh, right. So all of your answers are correct. We will be learning about the holiness of God. What does it mean when we say that he is holy? What does the Bible have to say about his holiness? Which reminds me to take my Bible out from my bag. Okay. What does the Bible the scriptures have to say about the holiness of God, and how can we apply that in our lives, right? And how can we live a holy and a righteous and a blameless life? Okay, so that's what we will try and learn this semester in the subject. Okay, are you guys excited about it? Yeah, because holiness is not a very popular and a very exciting topic, no? It's uh, right. How can I be a successful leader, or topics like that can be very exciting. How can I have a successful ministry, etc. But holiness is not very exciting or an enticing subject, right? The Bible says, he's most holy. That's what holy, holy, holy is. He's the most holy, right? But the world often uses words like the most expensive, the most beautiful, right? The most, what is it? Anything else? The most expensive watch, the most expensive house, the most expensive car, the most expensive or the most beautiful this, the most beautiful that. The most holy, there's no appeal to it, isn't it? It's like, that's why you would have heard this in school and all, right? If a person is a good person, a good boy or a good girl, we would say this, oh, he's a holy Joe, right? Oh, he's a holy Joe, he won't do this, he won't do that, so it's not very exciting or enticing for the world. The word holy or the understanding of it in itself, right? So yeah, so today will just be more like an introduction of what this course is all about, and we'll see what we can learn. Okay. Yeah, good morning to everyone. Right, so I just want to start off by sharing one of my earliest encounters in my life. Is so I think I was in fourth standard, fourth grade, fourth standard. I was having my breakfast, getting ready to go to school, half pants on. You didn't get full pants until you went to seventh standard, in my time. So I was having my breakfast, and so back then there was this Christian channel called TBN or Miracle Network back then, before it became God TV. Um, so there was this worship leader leading the song called "Holy, Holy, Holy Are You, Lord." Elders and angels bow, redeemed, we worship you now. Okay, uh, the worship leader's name is Terry McCalman. He's the one who wrote "You Deserve the Glory." Right, he's the one who wrote that song. So as young as I was, I'm just having my breakfast and listening to this worship that is going on, and I could immediately sense a shift in the atmosphere. Like everything in the room is changing. Um, there was something tangible, and I've never forgotten that moment. And it was now I have the words to say that it was very holy. Back then, I was too small to understand what was even happening. Right, everything, like the whole atmosphere changed with that sound of worship that said he was, that God is holy, and ever since then, um, you know, my life has been touched by the holiness of God. Not that I've been holy since, far from it, but something about the holiness of God that's always drawn me to Him. Um, in different seasons of my life, God has used different people who spoke about His holiness, and as soon as someone mentioned the holiness of God, my antennas would go up. Right? It's like, "Wait, I want to learn more about this. What is this?" And so I can take you through journey of my life, like from this fourth standard as with my first encounter, and then so many year after year in 2007, in 2009, in 2010, 2011, was just marked by His holiness. And so this subject is, the way I see it is, it's more than just a subject. It's very special to me, and I'm very honored that I get to speak about it. And I pray that all of you will be blessed, and all of you on this journey will not just with the subject will have an encounter with Him, but I pray that you would have encounters and revelation of His holiness through the journey of your life. Yeah, amen. That's really my prayer for us as we go through this course. So there's a course overview, and I hope you've been able to download all the documents that I had posted for those online as well. There are a few sections. There are mainly three sections. Section 1, we will be learning about the holiness of God in detail. Right? Under that section, there are many subsections where we will learn about the holy God. He's thrice holy, and His holiness in me, perfecting holiness, why personal holiness is important, right? And the beauty of His holiness. So in section 2, we'll address topics such as repentance, recovery, restoration. Okay, the 3 R's. And finally, in section 3, we will look at overcoming sinful life. How do we overcome the lust of the flesh? How do we overcome the world, right? How do we, example, using the word, etc. All right. So these are the basic sections: section 1, section 2, section 3. And we'll see how we can go about covering. So today we will start with section 1 on the holiness of God, right? So let's start with that very famous question of, most of you attended my praise and worship session. When we start the course on praise and worship, the first thing I like to do is, what do you have to say about worship? What is your understanding of worship, right? And all of you answered, and I remember your answers. So similarly, when we say that God is holy, what comes to your mind first? His worth, okay. Sorry? Birth, okay. His birth was holy, yes, okay. His nature, okay. A little bit, a little bit detailed elaboration also is fine. Okay. So his birth, what about his birth? His nature, what about his nature? Sorry. His purity and sinless nature. Okay. Okay. Right. Sam says there is nobody like him. Okay. Yeah, Sam just gave the answer to the entire course. I think we can just finish the course right now. Okay, guys, that's what it is. I think we can all go back home now and just work on our assignments. uh, the youth pastor has given the answer. So come on. Okay, yeah, it's great. But I'm sure there's more to it. His sinless and purity. Okay, pure nature. What else? The way he responds to the temptations in Jesus, you mean, in the gospel. Right, when he's tempted by Satan in the wilderness, that he responds by saying, it is written, right? Okay, okay, all right. What else? Okay, so let's look at the introduction in your course notes. I'm just going to go through it in detail so we are all on the same page. Okay, because Pastor Ashish has put on this very beautifully. Okay, so introduction, page 6, I think. Is that right? I'm thinking, yeah. Okay, page 4. Okay, sorry. So PDF is different. All right. So by the way, we are an introduction anyway. Starts off by saying God is holy. Holiness is the very nature of God. The beauty, the grandeur, the splendor of God is called holiness. Okay. Um, I would suggest, recommend you having a highlighter, a pen, whatever. Use any color, every color possible to, mark them, because you're going to be learning quite a lot and for the future as well. Okay. So I'm sure all of this is going to come in handy. So holiness is the very nature of God. And Komal already said this, right? This is his nature, right? Let's pause and understand what is his nature. When we say it's his nature to be holy. Sorry? It's love, okay? I have heard commentators during any sports match, sports game, use this word, saying, for example, if a batsman who's very aggressive, who likes to play shots, they would say it's his natural game. It's his nature to be aggressive in the game, right? Sir Rahul Dravid was his nature to defend a lot. I mean, so he's, doesn't mean that he was not aggressive, but you understand what I'm saying. So we use that example or an explanation to say this is how that person is, generally is, right? This is how this person is. This person is very quiet. It's his nature. He or she is very shy. He or she is very like an extrovert, like to mingle and speak with everyone. You following, right? And then here we say that it is his nature to be holy, right? We look at more definitions in just a moment, but let's move on. Okay, I want you to think about all these statements. Okay, so it's not just some English words put together and just so it says the beauty, the grandeur, the splendor of God is called holiness. Okay, the beauty of God is called holiness. The grandeur. Okay, that's such a beautiful word. The grandeur. You look at poets would define something that is very scenic and say stand in front of Himalayas, or something that is grand, right? There's this Grand Canyons, right? I think in North America, something that is, you just stand there and you say, wow, it's breathtaking, right? I remember 2010, I went to Nepal for a mission trip in 2010, and my friends there took me to uh, what I forget, the Annapurna range of the Himalayas. It's one of the ranges, right? And they took me up a hill. And so, for how many of you have been to hill? What's Nandi Hills in Bangalore? Right? If you haven't, it's okay. Don't go there now. It's just not worth it now. So, uh, so it's pretty high, Nandi Hills, right? And so they took me up a hill which is as high as Nandi Hills in Bangalore, and I stood up there on top of that hill, and from there I was looking at the Himalayas like this, and I remember the feeling of feeling so small, and majestic was the word that came to my head, my mind back then. This is majestic. I haven't seen anything like it, right? And until that point, I have not seen anything like it. This is, wow, breathtaking. I am speechless. And that's what grandeur is, isn't it? The beauty of God, the grandeur. You say, as Sam said, that there is no one like him. And when you encounter him in his holiness, you are just lost for words. And you stand in his presence and say, gosh, I have not experienced, I have not seen anyone like him. And that's what holiness does to us. The holiness of God does to us, right? It just opens up a different perspective of who he is. All right, okay, let's move on. Holiness is God revealing and expressing his beauty. Holiness is absolute purity. Underline that absolute word when you can, because we are going to look at that in more detail in the chapters to come. So, holiness is absolute purity, sinlessness, righteousness, truthfulness, faithfulness, and perfection. God's holiness is infinite, perfect, absolute, unattainable, fearful, unapproachable, and beyond what we can grasp, comprehend, and explain. Our words can never sufficiently describe his holiness. Right? So why study about his holiness? Right? This is one of those subjects where okay, there are two kinds of subjects, right? You know what? For me, if I don't understand something, I'm gonna just let it go. I'm not gonna bother about it. Right? Uh, Chemistry was that subject in college for me. And then there are those subjects where you don't understand, but you want to understand and you want to learn, isn't it? And so I know that, okay, my words can't explain, it can't do justice or describe his holiness well. I know I can't comprehend it, but then I want to study it still. Are you with me? Okay, all right, let's move on. God is good, God is love, God is merciful, God is holy, God is righteous. Every facet of his nature is equally important. To emphasize one aspect of his nature while ignoring the others, okay, this is very important, guys, listen to this. It says, to emphasize one aspect of his nature while ignoring others will not give us a true picture of God. Holiness is the very core of God's nature, and every other facet of who he is undergirded, mingled, and governed by his holiness. Okay, so let's pause there. It says every other facet of who he is undergirded, mingled, and governed by his holiness. Okay, because of his holiness, he is merciful. That means his mercy is holy. Because of his holiness, he is love. Because of his holiness, he is good. Right? Because of who he is. When we talk about the holiness of God, we're addressing the person of who he is. That's what the nature means. It's the person of who he is. It's not just another attribute anymore. Right? That he is faithful, he is merciful, he is wonderful, he's beautiful. Right? All of that he's gracious, he's abounding in love. All of that is because that he is holy. And so once you understand that, everything about his, all of his attribute is now holy. All right, are you with me so far? Okay. So a correct revelation of his nature will evoke the right response from us toward God, and draw us to the place where his nature is reproduced in us and revealed through us. So the correct revelation. Now I mentioned this many times. Revelation. The word revelation comes from the word reveal, right? Reveal, revelation. But the root word is unveiling. Unveil. Okay, so it's let's say for example you have a shawl covering your face like Moses had, and he, like, right when he came down from the mountain, his face was shining, and so he would cover it with a veil, veil, right? And so an unveiling of that is what a revelation is. Okay, so with the revelation of his true nature, there is an unveiling of who he is. Right? Come, Moses, I will place you in the cleft of the rock. I will put my hand over your face, and I will cause my goodness to go before you. You think about that imagery there. God is saying, there's a place on the cleft of the rock, Moses. I'm going to put my hand over your face. Basically, I'm not going to let you see, but still, I'm going to cause my goodness to go before you. Why? Because you're covering my face. So why bother go before me? You see, so God is saying there's a difference between sight and vision. Yeah, okay. So Paul was blinded on the road to Damascus, but yet he saw. There was an unveiling, there was a revelation of who Jesus is. But he was blind. Are you with me? Right? So revelation of God, it doesn't necessarily have to do with sight. You don't have to see the heavens open like Isaiah or Ezekiel, and okay, so are you with me? Right? So the correct revelation of his nature will evoke the right response from us towards God and draw us to the place where his nature is reproduced in us and revealed through us. So we have a revelation for a reason. It's not just to show off. I heard a revelation of this. Have you had a revelation of this? It's not to be condescending, right? It's not to show off. It's like, I saw God. You saw. Right? I saw angels. You saw. No, we have an encounter with God for it to be, it says here, reproduced in us, eventually revealed through us. But that's why we have that an encounter with God. Yes? Okay. So everything about God is holy. He is thrice holy, holy to the third degree. We will learn about all of that in detail in the next chapter. So his name is holy. He speaks in his holiness. He dwells in holiness. The call to holiness is an invitation to partake of his nature, to have his nature reproduced in us and revealed through us. Okay, so the call to holiness is an invitation to partake of his nature. Okay, so sometime in this course, we'll again share a personal call that I had back in 2011, whenever it's right. But yeah, we become holy because he sanctifies us. That means he has chosen to set us apart for himself. Okay, the next para. Living holy, being holy is embracing the fact that we are completely his. We belong to him completely. Every part of me belongs to the most holy one. That is what living holy and being holy is. Okay, it's the opposite of so many ideologies of the world, is that if I do a certain thing, if I climb a certain number of steps, if I wear a certain attire, white and white, if I have no beard, if I wear no jewelry, if I put no makeup, so holiness is not attributed to cosmetics, right? Here, according to the scriptures, he makes us holy, and The result of absolute surrender is called living holy and being holy. Right? Absolute surrender. It's what it is. Are you with me? Yeah? Okay. Guys, are you all following so far? Guys online? Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you. So, holiness of life is a recognition and celebration that all of me belongs to Him, the most holy one. It's a recognition and celebration. That's what it says. And this is how holiness is reproduced in me and hence revealed through me. Okay. Now, let's pause here and look at those two paras that we just read. Living holy, being holy is embracing the fact that we are completely His. That means it's saying you have no control over yourself. You have no right over yourself. You are completely His. You belong to Him. And that's what absolute surrender is. Okay, write it somewhere. Absolute surrender. That you have no control. This is a chapter in Ezekiel chapter 47, where Ezekiel has a vision and he sees a river of God surrounding the temple. Right? Have you read about it? Know about it? Anybody? Okay, Ezekiel 47, you can read it later. It says, so there was a river of God that came from the temple of God, right? And there's an invitation for Ezekiel to go into the river. He goes. First, he goes ankle deep, and then he goes knee deep, and then he goes about his waist, I think, and then now the river is all over him, right? And he has lost all control. And there is the song, a line that says, when I lose complete control, there is freedom, right? You can't control the waves. You can't control the current of water. You are just going to waste your energy, exhaust, right? The best thing you can do is just give up. Let the water take you where it has to take you. Let it be all over you. And that is like, saying absolute surrender. Another story I love from the Bible is, think about Mary, the mother of Jesus here, biological mother on earth. Now, in the Old Testament, there are hundreds of prophecies about the birth of Jesus, right? The promise of a Messiah in the Old Testament, right? Book after book from different prophets, different writers. There's so many prophecies. And then there's the angel of God having a conversation with Mary. And then the angel says, you know how the story goes. All of this promise that's happened in the Old Testament is waiting for it to be unleashed. And it was not unleashed until Mary said, yes, let it be unto me according to thine will. So until she absolutely surrendered, all of heaven was waiting on her yes. This is the plan of God from redemption of humanity. Right? Like there is no other plan that triumphs this plan. This is the ultimate plan of God to redeem mankind. And the ultimate plan of mankind had to be weighed on one person's yes. Right? I'm not sure you get the weight of it. Okay. All of heaven had to wait for Mary to say yes. Regardless of how many prophecies were there in the Old Testament. Right? And then the Holy Spirit comes over her. Yes. Now in the Old Testament, now we know that the tribe of Levites were in charge of carrying the presence of God, the Ark of the Covenant. Yeah. You see that Jesus is known as the Lion of the tribe of Judah because his earthly father comes from the lineage of Judah. Right? And we know the promises again in the Old Testament that God gives David, my seed is going to come through the line of David, etc. All of that, because David again was from the tribe of Judah, right? Jesus may be from the line of the tribe of Judah, which he is, but still it was a Levite. Mary was a Levite that carried his presence, like literally, so to speak. So things that can happen when you give absolute surrender to God is is endless, is boundless, right? It's limitless. When you say, Lord, I give complete control. When you understand and say, I am not mine, I'm yours. And your journey of holiness begins there. Okay? All right, let's move on. At the bottom of page 6 or 4 for you. This then leads to the cleansing, sanctification, and consecration of all of me unto the one most holy. This then leads to cleansing, sanctification, and consecration of all of me unto the one most holy. All of my desires, all of my affections, all of my passions, all of my dreams, all of my hopes, all of my aspirations, my mind and body, my thoughts, words, and deeds, my time, talents, and money, my family, home, and possessions, all of me are hallowed unto him. Are hallowed unto him, is set apart unto him. Right? We see that word in the prayer that Jesus teaches us to pray, isn't it? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. And then your kingdom come, your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. See, you see, the first part is an invitation, or it's uh, sorry, it's an address. Our Father who art in heaven, right? Hallowed be your name. You're addressing. And the next part is not an address anymore. It's an what do I say? It's a prayer, so to speak. It's a plea. Let your kingdom come. Let your will be done. But you see how that ends is we should not confuse that God's kingdom will not come where his name is not hallowed. Okay, I'll say that again. God's kingdom will not come where his name is not hallowed, or where his name is not declared holy. Okay, I'll give you a bunch of scriptures in the next, whenever possible, about verses that talks about his name being holy. Okay, so his kingdom, again, I've taught about this. His kingdom is two different words, king and dominion. Right? Wherever the king goes, his dominion comes with him. So when we declare his name is holy, your name is hallowed in this place, the king comes and he comes with all of his dominion. Right? And when you say, Lord, I declare your name as holy over my life, over my families, my possessions, my dreams, my deeds, my time, my talents, my money, my mind, and my body, let your name be hallowed, Lord. And so he comes. The king comes, and he also brings his dominion along with it. And so we give complete permission for his kingdom to invade our lives. Okay? I hope you all are still alive, because this subject can be just a little intense, but I hope you see the joy in it, right? It's the way when I was growing up, people would speak about the holiness of God as there's someone sitting upstairs with one stick in their hands, waiting for you to sin. In India, at least, we say, you do something wrong, he will poke your eyes. Right? It's like, that's the imagery that we have. It's like, oh, holy, 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 holy. Okay. This is, but the true revelation, like what we just read, right? The true revelation of his nature will draw us to him. Right? You'll feel like an invitation. Yes, you will be afraid. You have to be afraid. Yeah, because he is God and he is holy. there's a sense of reverence, like you mentioned, right? Um, but yet there is an invitation, and I want more of this. Right? In Exodus or Deuteronomy chapter 4 or 5, I think it says, the whole mountain was on fire. Okay, the whole mountain was on fire. This is the God manifest present and his glory. And the next line it says, and Moses stepped into it. Moses was like, yeah, it's a good time to die, I think. Let me step into it, you know? You see that in Exodus 19, when you read Exodus 19 and 20, it says, for the first time, the Israelites are seeing this God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why? Because for 400 years, they've been in Egypt. Okay? For 400 years is almost equivalent to 10 generations. 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just think about it, right? My generation goes, next generation, after generation, okay? 10 generations, that's 400 years. For 400 years, all they have seen, the Israelites, are the gods of Egypt, the idols of Egypt, the worship of Egypt, the way Egyptians worship. Yes? They have no idea who this God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is. They've heard of him. That's it. But now Moses has led them into the wilderness to Mount Sinai. And now they're just seeing the whole mountain is on fire. By the way, if we know how big our God is, the whole mountain on fire is really not a big deal. Like, I mean, Isaiah says that he holds the entire universe in the span of his hands, like that. And so, a whole mountain on fire, I understand it's a big deal, but really? You know, he can sneeze and wipe away the whole universe. Right? Okay. And so, anyways, Israelites come to Mount Sinai, they see this. Oh, what is that? Moses is like, yeah, that's our God. You know, he's just flexing his muscles. The Israelites say, Moses, you talk to God yourself and you come and tell us everything and we will do what you tell us. They were lying, you know, because they didn't do anything what Moses told them. But you see that a group of people saw his nature, saw who he is, and they were afraid. They kept a distance. But then there was Moses, who saw who he really is, right? And decided to step into it. Right? And so, where are you? And who are you going to be in that journey? Right? Your response can just be two. You see who he really is and step into the cloud, or you can just choose to wait down in the mountains. Are you with me? That is the beauty of the holiness of God. Let's conclude with just a few more things. God accomplishes this in us as a process, step by step. What does he accomplish? His sanctification process, his cleansing process, and his consecration process in us. It is a step-by-step thing. It's not just that. How? By his word, his spirit, and his divine discipline. We become a holy people unto our God. Step by step, day by day. It's a process, it's a journey. So true worship then takes place in holiness, in the beauty of his holiness. Worship is my adoration, my admiration, my being enthralled by his beauty and his beauty alone. And that's what worship is, isn't it? So it takes place in holiness. The beauty of his holiness, and worship is my adoration, my admiration. Are you just being amazed by who he is and just standing in his presence and saying, wow, Lord, there is no one like you. There is none like you. I'm amazed by your love. I'm amazed by your mercy. I'm amazed by who you are, by your nature. And so I choose to worship. Right? And if you remember in praise and worship class, we learned that worship is a response to an encounter with God. Right? Worship is not an encounter with God, but worship is a response to an encounter with God. Right? And we will look at a few response from the scriptures in the next in the classes to come. But this is what holiness is, right? Um, when we think about holiness or the holiness of God, we only think that He is morally pure, like He said, He's sinless, and like again, Sam says that there is nobody like Him, right? That there is nobody like Him. That means when we say that God is holy, we are not just saying that He doesn't do sin. We are not just saying that He is morally pure, because as human beings, that is our understanding or the revelation of holiness. Holiness is I don't do this. I don't smoke. I don't drink alcohol. I don't use bad words. I don't commit adultery. I don't steal. Right, all the don'ts, isn't it? Which is all fine. That's all moral purity or righteousness. That is our understanding of holiness. But when we say that God is holy, we are not just saying that He is morally pure, which He is, but we are saying that there is no one like Him. We're not just saying that He doesn't sin, He cannot sin. We're not just saying that He does not lie, we are saying that He cannot lie. It is not in His capacity to sin. Are you with me? Okay. Okay, I think we'll just pause here before we continue, and we've spoken enough for this session. So we'll pause here, guys, and we'll take a quick break, and we'll meet here in 15 minutes or so. All right. Thank you. I'll see you.